I'm going to be talking with you about my July TBR, and here it is. War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in another video soon. I'm just kidding. I had a really fun time last summer reading Anna Karenina, also by Leo Tolstoy. Did a lot of research about how to tackle the books that you're afraid of, what kinds of things you want to learn ahead of time, how to set markers up in your book to make it even more readable as you start it, and what helps you keep going. I think War and Peace has a little bit more of an intimidation factor because it is just simply the biggest book I own. I have started it several times, but I have not made it past the initial party scene. I have never left the party. I have not gone home with any of the characters. I have not continued in the book, and that is something that I hope to change this July. This is one of the books on my 24 in 24 TBR. July is just a great month to pick up a big book that intimidates you because there's so many other light, beachy, summery reads coming out that you can use to supplement that and keep you going through that big book. This month is exciting for me because there are some repeat authors that are coming out with a sequel or a new novel. Two that come to mind are Summer's End by Juno Black. This is going to be the most recent installment in the Shady Hollow mystery series, which I have talked about before on my channel, and I just love those books. They're just so cozy. So that is coming out in just a few days in the first week of July, and I have had that pre-ordered since the last snowflake fell. Another one, which again I expect to be just light, refreshing, and wholesome, is The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. She is the author of The Wishing Game, which was a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory retelling set in present day with a mysterious children's book author at the center instead of our renowned candy maker. I really enjoyed that one. I read it in one day, and I will be happily reading The Lost Story. Because The Wishing Game was so well received by the Book of the Month community, I just had a feeling that they would feature her as a repeat author in July, and that looks to be the case from some videos that I've seen on Instagram lately. They kind of gave a sneak peek of 3 of the books that will be available, and so I will probably be getting it through Book of the Month. Another recent release, Welcome to Tuga by Francesca Segal. She is the author of Mothership. First, it looks perfect for the summertime. It's described as a Dr. Dolittle or James Herriot, all creatures great and small, but it's set in a tropical location, and we have a vet as our main character. I'm just so excited about it. It's giving me Encanto plus All Creatures Great and Small vibes. Those are both such good selling points for one book. Because her writing I am already a fan of, I think this is going to be a hit. We should talk about War and Peace. Before I start reading any big books, I have a process that I go through, and I detailed this in this little video, which is a quick start guide to big books, and I'm really proud of that video. So if you have a big book that you want to tackle this summer, I highly recommend you give that a watch. I've already done the preliminary steps from that video, so my book is all softened up and floppy and ready to read. This book was originally released in a serial fashion, similar to Dickens. It was released in a magazine style format. Apparently the response to that was a little bit mixed, and Tolstoy notoriously had a tough time letting go of editing power on his books, and so he and his wife made the decision to publish it in 3 volumes instead of continuing to release it in a periodical style format. So because I'm reading this in 4 weeks, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go with the volumes for my reading. It looks pretty evenly spaced, so this is what I need to read for week 1. It's up to page 294. Tolstoy wrote this book in 6 years, so there is absolutely no pressure to try to read it in 1 month. I am going to do that because I like the challenge, and I also enjoy reading classics in a little bit of a shorter time frame so that I don't lose track of the threads of the story. I don't have to relearn character names. That's why I'm reading it in 1 month. This novel is set on the cusp of historic change in 1812 when Napoleon invaded Russia. Tolstoy originally wanted to write this book about the Decembrists because he had some members of his family who had been a part of that movement, but it turned out that the novel kind of took on a life of its own and it steered a little bit away from that. So this is a very political book. Even from the first scene, we see that there is some disagreement, how we should care about Napoleon, how we should respond to the war.
You see good in a revolution, sir.
The equality of all citizens, freedom of speech, liberty, equality, fraternity, these are ideas we could learn from in Russia.
It's also got that element of relational drama that Tolstoy does so well. There are apparently more than 500 characters in this book, but there are just a few that we really need to care about. The first is Count Pierre Bezukhov. Just like Konstantin Levin in Anna Karenina, Tolstoy kind of wrote himself in as this main character. Pierre reasons and cares about things just like Tolstoy does, and he put him in the starring role. Next we have Prince Andrei Bolkonsky. He and Pierre are besties. He's discontented in his marriage. His wife Lisa is pregnant. He's preparing to go off to war, and he's packing his existential crisis with him. Princess Maria Bolkonskaya, Andrei's sister, she's a conservative and kind caretaker for their kind of crazy father. She's also been looking for some meaning. She's looking for meaning beyond her responsibilities. She's also quite the catch on the marriage market because of her family's wealth and social status. Next we have Countess Natasha Rostova. She's full of wonder and excitement, and she's a little naive, which we can't blame her for because she is 12 at the beginning of this novel. She just really wants to grow up and do grown-up things. Count Nikolai Rostov. He's ready to jump into military service in a single bound, but he's not really up for a sit down and talk about their father's precarious mental state and what it means for their family's finances. So those are the main characters that I need to be aware of in this novel, although there are several more that orbit them and will have an impact on their lives. Just knowing those names, I already have a better standing on entering this book. Planning to print out a custom bookmark just so I can remember their different Russian names, because oftentimes the same character will have several different names depending on the formality of their relationship with someone, their family nicknames, etc. And so you kind of have to start to pick up on which character is being spoken of. It does become clearer and you're going to be able to put that together, so don't be intimidated by that. So that's my official July TBR. If you plan to read a chunky book this July, this can be your first step to committing to read that. Let me know what the book is, what's the page count, and what are some things about this book, either that you've read or heard, that made you want to read it for yourself? What is motivating you to actually read that book? Starting on Wednesdays will be the War and Peace vlogs, and I hope to chronicle my experience reading this big book with you. I do hope that Wednesdays can become our catch-up day for how we're doing at reading our big book this summer. If you want to start reading with me, let me know what book you'll be reading, and we will catch up in the next video on Wednesday. If you watch this video in its entirety and you want to leave a comment, but you're not necessarily diving into a big book this summer, go ahead and leave a War and Peace emoji combo. It can be any peace sign that you want. I will see you in another video soon. Peace and yeah.